Well, hello everyone, and thank you for joining us again for our weekly tips related to COVID-19. We are offering financial tips that are specific to helping you and your families live better during this pandemic. I'm Kelly Green with Centric, and I have Casey Messer joining us today as well. And today specifically, we will be talking about really how to keep your eyes open for scams. And in particular, we are really focused on the availability of stimulus checks. I know there's a lot of talk right now about the stimulus checks becoming available to us, but we currently have not received a date of when those checks will be issued. And there's some things we want you to be very much aware of. The government, nor will Centric, either of those institutions, contact you and ask you questions related to your Social Security number, account numbers, or to verify any personal data. Now, Centric, our team has actually been contacting some of our members, reaching out to ensure that you're taken care of and that you're okay, but at no time should they be verifying any information. And if someone is contacting you, proclaiming to be an employee of the government or even an employee at another financial institution, please be aware that that is not anything of standard procedure for us to do or for the government, and it is likely to be reported as a scam. So if there's anyone that's misrepresenting themselves, you can report those issues to the Better Business Bureau. You can also report those to the Attorney General, and we can even link those links up for you to the email communication that will follow, or you may certainly Google those, the Attorney General by your state and the Better Business Bureau. You can search in that capacity as well. We have 4 other tips that are related to scams this week, and I'm going to pitch it over to Casey to provide those to you.
Okay, so the first one that I wanted to talk about is just online offers. So right now there's a lot of talk about vaccinations for the coronavirus and what's out there, what can help, what can prevent. At this time, there's no FDA approved home test kit. There's things circulating the internet, and you may even receive an email offering this to you. Please be aware of that. If you don't hear it from a government official or from an official website, the CDC's website or the FDA, please just know that that is a scam. Don't fall victim to sending money for this. Obviously, they would probably ask you to pay for it. Any requests like this, just avoid that, and please don't send them your money. So, of course, talking about online, internet safety is very important right now. A lot of us are working from home, our kids are home, and we're using a lot of our time online. Discuss with your kids that there's predators out there and they will take advantage of them, clicking through on Facebook or social media on certain things. And what they'll do is they'll hack into your computer for your personal information and sometimes even just valuable things, maybe even like your bank information, things that you have saved, or, you just don't want anyone to take advantage of you. So be careful with that. Don't share any of your personal information on Facebook, even through Messenger. You may think it's a private message, it's secure. Once it's out there on the web, it's not secure. So unless you are speaking with someone and you're talking through maybe a secure email with your financial institution, make sure that you know where that information is going and how it's getting there. Just be very, very protective of that information. Robocalls. So we all have probably received a million of these robocalls all the time. You hear somebody talking about maybe a car warranty that's not yours. Be aware that scammers are making calls now, also offering these vaccinations or maybe even a work from home opportunity. Right now, some people are without jobs, and so a work from home opportunity sounds really great. Odds are, they're probably not going to call you to ask you for to work from home. If you're looking for something and you find a reliable source, please look into that, do your research. But like we said, they're probably not going to call you and ask you to work from home for them. It's probably a scam. So the last thing is just to be super careful when you're purchasing online. And so what I mean by that is make sure you know the person or the business. So if you're buying from an individual, make sure you know who they are, what they're selling, and what they're representing, how you're giving your money to them. Is that a secure way? Of course, a business, if you're purchasing online, make sure you know the return policy. So if anything were to happen with that purchase, you want to ensure that your funds can be returned to you if it, that event presents itself. So be very careful with that. The last thing that I want to mention, I mentioned this last week, is price gouging. So again, if you see price gouging, so people are selling something for a high price, taking advantage of this time, please report that. And you can report that to the National Center for Disaster Fraud. There's a hotline and there's a website for that. We will share that with you in our email communication and on our blog. So please be aware of that. And I'm going to kick it back over to Kelly for some closing remarks.
Thank you, Casey. I appreciate you providing those tips for us this week as they do relate to scams and being proactive and being aware of the items and the scams that are really prevalent during this time. And unfortunately, when we're faced with difficult times or any sort of uncertainties or disasters or such, a lot of times we will see scams happening. There's several things we've seen in relation to car wrap scams. There have been multiple false items that people are receiving checks in the mail, and those are just not. They are fraudulent items, and you just want to be aware and be vigilant. In closing today, I just really want to thank you so much for joining us and listening in. I do want to share with you, included in our email communication, there is information related to the website that you can actually find related to your stimulus checks, and you can calculate the amount you can anticipate in that stimulus check, whether it's for you, an individual, or for also your family. So if you want to take a look at that, you can find all of those links at the very bottom of the email. It will direct you to those and many other places where we've sourced data from today's call and the tips related within this call. You can anticipate us providing weekly tips, and we'll provide those over to you every single Wednesday. We can commit to doing that through the month of April, and that might be extended. We'll be able to share that in the coming weeks. But we just want to thank you so much. If you are not receiving our e-communications and you would like to do that, you can contact us by email at marketing@mycentric.org or mycentric@mycentric.org. We can get you signed up to ensure you are receiving this timely communication, and you can find all of the details that we've covered in our past weeks and the current weeks. You can find that online at mycentric.org. We have an entire page devoted to COVID-19, keeping you and your family up to date. As a reminder, we are available to you 24/7 at mycentric.org, as well as by phone at 318-340-9656. Our drive-throughs are still open, and if you still need to make a deposit or withdraw any funds after normal banking hours, you can do those at any Centric ATM. Again, we thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to visiting with you same time next week.